In 2019, I got serious about stepping up my soldering game. I made quite a few mistakes along the way and bought plenty of stuff I didn't need. In the end, I worked my way up to ball grid array rework with the goal of reballing the backwards compatible PlayStation 3's GPU, which I eventually realized was prone to premature failures. I've limped along with a Ghetto reballing setup using a T8280 Preheater and 853D Rework Station for a couple years now. With practice, that worked, and I was able to make my own Frankenstein Phat PlayStation 3, which is where you replace the failed 90nm GPU with a more efficient 65 or 40nm model. But it requires a lot of manual attention and it's not ideal. That's where the seed of an idea started growing. I've been thinking about hacking together a DIY automated BGA Rework Station. I've been gathering materials, drawing up schematics, watching videos, and reading articles about the various aspects, and I finally decided to half-bake this potato. Enjoy.
Found it. Clamp, you little jerk.
That was a lot more difficult than it needed to be, or than it should have been. Ugh. Okay, so I have finished wiring it. I mean, not finished wiring it, but I've gotten it to the point where I can test. I think I've crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, so I won't electrocute myself. I'm not like 100%, which is why I'm in the garage. If it catches fire, it's not gonna burn the house down. I've got a fire extinguisher. It's full. I check these things every month, but annually at least, and have it recharged. And over here by my escape route, I've got another. It's fused with 10 amps, and there's a circuit breaker on the 220 volt step-up converter. So it should break the circuit, right? I've got the circuit breaker in the wall. That should cut off if there's a short. The circuit breaker inside the unit should cut off if there's a short. The 10 amp fuse should blow if there's a short. Like, there's a lot of protection in here, so it should not catch fire. I'm just kind of scared. Like, it's the first time I've really worked with mains voltage this much. So I am apprehensive. I don't want to touch anything metal either. So it's like, I'm afraid if I touch the wrong thing, it's gonna zap me. So I'm gonna keep that off for now. How far away can I get from this thing? All right, plugged in, and that's off. Set up my thermal camera. I think I want to take that off so I can see if anything inside is getting hot. I think I'm going to turn that up like that so I can keep that up there. It should not turn on automatically, but if it does, I want the hot air off the table, which can actually burn. All right, moment of truth. Flip the switch and hope nothing goes bang. I'm just looking to see if anything is getting warm. There is no live power yet, of course. All right, so now I'm gonna back up, and then I'm going to turn it on while watching the thermal camera. My heart is racing. All right, ready, set, go. It has come to life. Something's happening. Yeah, the power LED is on. The controllers are on. That's warming up. That's the hottest thing in there. It looks like it's about 70 or 80 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, that's a positive result. Nothing exploded. Nice. I'm just gonna wait a second, let the capacitors discharge before I touch the thing. Clearly I'm afraid of it. So I've got a K-type thermocouple. This switch will change between the external. I can plug one in here, or it's gonna be on the T8280 itself. It's one of these two, and ignore that label, it's wrong. See if one of the thermocouples is gonna work. Process value. So this is the actual temperature right now. What in the world? Okay, so that's what it does when there's nothing there. All right, so it's reading about 15 degrees right now, which is about right. I'm in the garage, it's kind of cold day. Thermocouple works. Does the hot air and everything still work?
Hold on to your butts.
Nothing's happening. That's concerning. Okay, iron. Nothing. Let me turn this off. Why? I don't see any explanation here. I think everything's plugged in. Alright, so I've hooked up the multimeter to the input on the hot air station, which should be getting 120 volts. I got it all set up here, so all I gotta do is press this on, so let's see what it says. Yeah, so it's getting 120 volts there. Apparently, the transformer works and I hooked it up properly. Yay! A little bit of preparation goes a long way. So mission accomplished. The switch works, the transformer works, the hookups to the PC410 works, the thermocouple works, the hot air station doesn't work. It was working before, it's not working now. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot it. Okay, so plug it in and power it on. I think this side is working, the most important part, the BGA side. This is the problem. And if I turn it on now, if this doesn't light up, what I just did is completely pointless. And it was pointless. The hot air turns on, it works, when you lift the handle. And when I put the handle back, it turns itself off once the temperature comes back down. So it's working, I just can't see anything. So now it's gotta be something on the board. I don't know what, but I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that and figure it out if I ever wanna use this thing as it was intended. The power supply portion works. Also, there's the same problem with the soldering iron. It doesn't turn on either. Look at that RF meter jumps up and down when I turn on the iron. Three, two, one, on. All right, those still work. Always a good sign. Please, please, please work. No, did not work. So I'm just testing the T8280. It seems to be working okay. This is the heat distribution though. It's not super accurate. It looks like it concentrates in this area and also in the center of that area. So yeah, it's pretty uneven. The on-off on rocker, when set down, is set to the T8280. So down is the T8280. So right now this is on and it's cooling. It's set to 100 degrees. And if I turn this down, it'll apply power. You can actually hear my fan in the window here turn down because it's sending current. But middle position's off and upper position sends the SSR's positive out to the external control. So in this position, the head unit can control a T8280. So this is like actually redundant now. I don't need that because middle is the off position and I can have it set to either on or the off. But it's kind of nice having a double on off or just a single on off that's red. So that'll be for the bottom of the board and then that'll be for the top of the board. And they will be able to control in the upper position the head unit, theoretically. I haven't tested to see if those actually work yet, but at least it retains its current function as a T8280. Anyway, a successful test.
I've pulled the controller out of the Rex C100 and I'm trying to find a place to get 12 volts. So when alarm 1 goes off, that turns yellow. So I can know that the T8280 is hot and I shouldn't touch it. The button doesn't do anything. All right, it's on. Now if I heat it up to 30 degrees, it should turn the light on. There it goes. Hey, the light turned on. And the thermocouple's not freaking out. Hey, it turned on and off. What do you know? Come on. Do it again? Yeah. And off? Yes. Finally. That was a lot stupid harder than it needed to be. Now what I need to do is change the alarm setting so that it will go off when the temperature gets to 50 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature that will burn you. There we go. So once this gets up to 50, it should kick on the hot. It does. When it gets below 50, it turns off again. So it's 100 degrees Celsius coming from the quick, and you can actually see the reading fluctuating up and down, which I think corresponds to the PID controller inside the quick. This thing changes pretty quick, actually, this particular thermocouple. So I would say it's pretty accurate. I replaced this thermocouple with an Omega, and quite frankly, it's not working. Okay, so they do agree pretty closely. I can work with that. Finally, the thermocouples are figured out. So, wire 12 volt to Rex C100 alarm 1 so it can drive the hot LED, check. Upper TC is inaccurate, replace, check. Alright, so I still have to replace the 853D motherboard and electronics and possibly the transformer. Wire it to the plug with the 909D. I think that's what it was, 909D. It's all in there now. It's hooked up the same as how it was in the 909. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Okay. I suppose that's a good sign. I mean, it's blinking. Something's going on. Okay. What happens if I turn hot air on? Okay, so I get a reading. Let's turn that down to say 100 here. Okay, and take it off. All right, it turns on. Put it back on the holster. So far, so good. Let's turn hot air off. Yep. Works. Let's try the iron. Okay, the iron works, but nothing's plugged in. All right, iron on. It's doing something. Is it heating up? That I don't know. It is heating up, I think. It's taking a really long time to do it. I don't think this is the handle that it came with. It's probably the one that the other one came with. All right, this is the one it came with. Let's try that again. It says 60. Okay. It's burning out back here. That's not good. Off, off. Ooh, look at that. Smoking back here. Unplay it. Whoa, that's bad. Look at that. Smoking at the back. So I did something bad. Oh yeah, it's hot. Something bad happened. Yeah, that thing almost caught fire. Whoops. All right, so the power supply of the hot air works. The soldering iron is dangerous. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to figure it out. All right, should be this one, bottom one. It's not. It's the top one. Well, no wonder it didn't work. Had it backwards. That is correct now, for sure. Turn it on. Let's try the iron again. Here's the scary one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. On. Oop, it's working. At least it says it's working. Not sure I trust this thing now after what it was doing before. Kind of slow, but it's working. Just about overheated and destroyed the thing. In fact, I'll probably get a different one so I don't have to use this one since it's been overheated once, but it is working. Oh, I have to say I'm pleased that this is working out. A little disappointed in myself for not getting that right. First, I really should have double checked the pinout assignment. Don't understand why this one, which came off the 853D and fits the same GX16-5 connector, but doesn't work in the 909D. Here's the hot air, and I've got it set to 100, and I want to see how even the air comes out this nozzle that I've got. It does kind of seem like the left side is hotter, yeah, down here in this corner than anywhere else. Set to 100 degrees. Maximum airflow. It's fairly even, actually. Not too bad. It's starting to heat up a little bit more on this side. Yeah, so it's sort of heating up on one side a little bit more. This is actually more uniform, I think, than the other one was. And here's the quick, set to 100 at maximum airflow.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Oh yeah, look at that. That's way more consistent. It's right in the center. So I took the PC410 apart. Run LED is right there. And so I'm just gonna run 2 wires to that. Okay. Wrong again. Always wrong on the first attempt. Murphy's Law. Like, it's gotta be the other one every single time. Oh. Hey, that's bright enough to see. Okay. I'll wire that up. All right, turn that on. Yay! Pause. Yes. On again. Stops. Yes. All that work for one LED.
On the back here, I have the control cable going to the T8280's preheater in, and the top heater going to the IR6000 in. Back is off. I will flip that when I'm ready to start. I've got the T8280 new BGA Station upper heater. So I'm going to set that up here, which of course it doesn't want to stay. And then the lower heater pointed on the plate. So this is the first power test with the T8280 hooked up. And I want the top off so that I can see if there's anything in here getting hot. Plug it in. Okay, so it's starting up. A little bit of heat coming in here. That's okay, because there's a few things in there that are supposed to be producing heat. I'm sure that's normal. Nothing has gotten hot. Ready, set, go. Okay, it turned on. Don't see anything getting hot. Oop, there we go. The top heater is getting hot now. Okay, and over here, it went over 50 degrees. None of the wires are getting hot back there, that's good. That thing's actually not that uneven. It's a little hotter on this side than it is over here, and there's a bit of a cool spot in the center, which I don't love. So there's the cords, and temps look all right. Now the T8280 should be under the control of the Rex C100. Oh, there it goes. It's safe at 50 degrees. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I'll feel that it's warm and I won't wanna touch that surface, but it will not be so hot it can actually burn me. Yeah, so over here where it's about 50 degrees, the LED is turned off. I can touch it. In fact, it even leaves a dark spot where I was touching it. What I want to do is auto-tune the T8280 so that the Rex C100 can figure it out and work it better. Hold the left arrow key for 3 seconds, and that should start the auto-tune. On. 1, 2, 3, and it's on. What is happening right now? Because it was touching the other thermocouple. So when that stops blinking, it should be auto-tuned. Okay, so it stopped blinking, but it's not at 100 degrees. I auto-tuned this up to 200 degrees, and it seems to be holding pretty good, so auto-tune worked all right. It seems like so far everything is working. I'm just gonna do one last check here to make sure that nothing's overheating, having just ran a profile. Inside there, it's toasty. I mean, it got up to 46 degrees. Down here at the connection point, it's about 30 degrees, so that's okay. T8280's too hot to read, which is good, so it's currently running. The wire that runs between the T8280 and the head unit is not warm. It shouldn't be. I mean, there's only like maybe 20 volts on the SSR positive line, which is how it's being controlled. But the cord for the T8280, yeah, it's actually pretty toasty. Look at that.
it warmed up the table. Yeah, it's like 40 degrees, something like that. Yeah, like it's noticeably warm to the touch. 10 amp rated cord it's handling it, but it's heating up. It's not ideal. So I don't recommend using that. But yeah, so far so good. I don't smell anything burning. I kind of smell like molten plasticky smell. It's not coming from inside the head unit, so that's good. It's not coming from there. Yeah, it might be coming from the T8280. I should pull this thing open and check the cords, and I will do that next. All right, I'm back at the bench. I'm gonna pull this apart and see if any of these cords are scorched. I'm a bit concerned that the smell was scorching. If they look okay, I'll probably take the opportunity to like zip tie them out of the way or something. I didn't think they would be in the way before, but maybe so. Don't see anything scorched there. Where'd that come from? I don't remember that being in there. That can go away. These don't look scorched. That doesn't look scorched. Looks fine. All of this looks okay. That looks all right. That looks all right. That looks all right. Nothing so far. Okay. Anything down in here? That all looks fine. I don't really like where the grounding wire is. That's kind of up against the edge here. This up here, that's the top heater of the T8280, and the yellow wire is the ground. I don't particularly like having it touching the T8280. So I'm gonna tuck that down out of the way. Under here, all of these wires are down and out of the way. I don't see any reason why they would be scorching or any kind of smell would be coming off of them. Obvious signs of problems, but I'm gonna add a couple more zip ties around here just to be sure. Just to keep those down, bundled out of the way. So maybe what I was smelling is just some crap on the plate burning off, like some flux or something that had stripped down, and I was just smelling that. So I don't think there was any burning. I don't think any of the insulation, all the wires look fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say that at least the front panel part looks okay. Why do I have an extra screw? Oh well, I have an extra screw. And at the bottom, you can see through here, there's nothing burning in there. The back, I've got the boards there. They were at the top up here, and the plate is over there, so I just kind of pulled them down. See, I've got them there. Just pull them down so they're further away from the heat at the top. But I don't see any scorching. No scorching, they look fine. And over here too. But it's just the one cord for the thermocouple comes from here. It must have just been the flux residue. Yeah, there's a little bit of flux there, some over here. I could clean that off. And also there's some cracks in the center and around the edges where stuff could have fallen and, you know, be burning off when it got up to temp. So maybe that's what I was smelling. I think it's fine. All right, so I've got a junk board here, PS3 number 1. I've removed the CPU, I've removed the RSX from this one. It still has those crappy tantalum capacitors that I had on there. There's some old tantalizer things. It's missing the connector. There's a lot from this donor board that's missing. So we're gonna use it to calibrate the station, hopefully. I don't technically need to do this. I'm just doing it because I want to have it in the same position that I'm gonna have other boards in when I use the station. So I want it like the height off the T8280 to be the same and everything. Okay. Maybe I want it over here by the CPU. Actually, it's more like over by the XDR, but it's more in the center right in here. When I noticed on the thermal camera, it was towards the center of the hot plate. Here and here that were the hottest points. So I kind of like that because now that means that the thermocouple will be touching the hottest spot. And for the upper thermocouple, I have this RSX that I've taken the die off of. And I'm thinking I will put the RSX on the board and the thermocouple right down on the center of the die, and then put the die back on. Now it's just going to be kind of sitting there, but the idea is that the heat around it will sort of travel through, and there's an intermediate layer in the middle. Oh, great. So of course the cord has to touch this thing. Really? Not gonna stay put? I wish this snake thing worked. I mean, that's pretty good right there. And then I want it to be about 2 inches, or about to my knuckle here. I'm gonna put the CPU back on. It has some residual balls left on it. I am not trying to fix this board. It can't be fixed. This CPU has trace damage anyway. But maybe I can solder it into position. Also, I'm thinking RSX lid on as well. Alright, so this is just gonna put the thermocouple down underneath the IHS and underneath the die, right on the interposer where the bumps are, and that's where it's gonna be basing the temperatures off. Okay, try turning it on. Power. On. Did I just turn it off? I must have turned it off. No. What's up? What happened? Am I not plugged in? I am plugged in. That's scary. No. Okay, that's on. Oh, I don't know why it wasn't. T8280, I'm gonna set to the upper control and have it turned on. And then I'm just gonna run a profile with it at 200 degrees, and then I'm gonna hit auto tune. Turn it on. Okay, it's running the profile now. It says the bottom one currently is at 31 degrees. Lower temp, upper's at 21. They're both rising. You can see the heat underneath is on. Okay, so I can smell something now. Also, I didn't turn the fan on. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the upper BGA because I don't have that fan turned on. I'll pay attention to that. In fact, let me just go around. Let's see here. This one. Yeah, it's warm, but it's not so hot it's gonna hurt anything. Temperature on the board looks like it depends on where you're looking at it, because around the edges, yeah, it's definitely cooler than around the upper heater. Well, it's saying it's about 100 degrees right now on the top side of the board where the thermocouple is sitting for the bottom heater. And at the top of the board over by the RSX where I've got the top heater, it's saying it's sitting at about 130 something odd degrees, which is pretty close to what the reading is here right now. So I'm gonna stop it once the auto tuning stops blinking, because I want the bottom to be set up for touching the board. I think I need to auto tune the top as well. Also, the cord coming out the plug is around 40 degrees, 45 degrees. I haven't blown a circuit yet, that's good. Okay, so the auto tune has stopped and it's slowly trying to bring the board up to 200. So I don't know if the thermal camera is correct, but at the edge of the board, furthest from the center, it's reading about 80 degrees. And towards the center, right in between the RSX and the CPU, it's reading over 150. So there's quite a bit of a difference there. So it's saying that it's at about 260 degrees right now at the upper heater. and rising. And I'm seeing some flux burning off the board now. This is not good. That's funky. What is happening right now? Oof. Alright, so there's definitely some flux coming off the board now. Boiling off, I don't like it. Don't like what's going on. Alright, I'm gonna stop the profile there. What I don't understand is why the bottom thermocouple was going up so high.
Why?
I mean, I suppose it could have been just the heat from the upper, but I had it set to 200 and it wasn't like, ugh, I don't know.
You were supposed to understand.
Clearly it needs some auto tuning.
I'll make you understand.
All right, so I grabbed a couple more thermocouples. This one I plugged into the external. I haven't switched it over yet. I'm afraid that maybe the top one isn't reading correctly. I moved it. It's no longer underneath the die. It's at the edge where it's going to be anyway. It was probably a stupid idea to put it there in the first place, but I did it. Oh well. Stick it there. Right next to the RSX. Oh, well, it actually sort of welded down, so it must have reflowed something. What about the CPU? Yeah, the CPU's welded on there too. Okay, so I got hot enough to melt the solder. That's for sure. It's kind of scary. All right, let's put this one on right next to the other one. So they're pretty much reading the same spot. Come on, stay. If this thing was like, you bend it, but then it bends back, and then it won't stay. Stay. All right, there. Put the IHS back, move this thing back into position. Okay, take two. I've got another one here, and this one I just want to have 2 or 3 different ones so that I have an idea of what the actual temperature is on the board. So 31.6, and on here it says it's 31 degrees, so that seems to agree pretty close. I need to see if there's an auto tuning setting in here. Program, tune off, on, right? So on. Now what do I do? All right, so I've set it to tune. I'm not exactly sure how to work this. I guess I set it up to whatever I want it to tune at. So let's try 150 degrees. And then I guess I hit start, or does it just start going on its own? I mean, it says it's warming up, so it must be trying to tune it currently. 6. Over here it says it's reading 84, 85. I'm not sure what to believe. It could just be that this thing takes longer to reach the same temperature, or that's just because of where it is over here. It's not towards the center. And also I noticed that this thing had a hot spot on it, so it could just be that as well. 61, 130. So what was that? Oh, probably because I was messing with it. 70. It says it's up to 100 now. So it seems like the thermocouple on this side's reading about 30 degrees difference, or 25 degrees lower. I don't know how long I'm supposed to leave it there. I'm getting drafts in here, which is not going to be good for this. I need to close the garage door. All right, so the auto tune's done. The thermocouple is reading 96, and over here it's reading about 98, so it's pretty close actually, now that the the heat is off. And I think what that means is that it's hotter on this side than it is on that side when it's heating, which concerns me because I don't want there to be a 30-degree temperature difference on either side of the chip. That may not work so great. I'm gonna try turning on the profile and see what happens. All right, yeah, so it says 90 here, but it's only 80 there. So I think the reading at the thermocouple on here is under a hotspot. So at this first step, it's supposed to bring it up to 100 degrees and hold it for like 3 minutes while the bottom raises up to 180. Yeah, 6-5 degrees or so below this one. So it's caught up on the other side of the chip. But yeah, it's about 5 to 10 degrees difference between the two. All right, I'm gonna come back when the temperature gets up or when it goes to step 2. All right, so it's entered step 2. And when it got up to 180, it overshot by about 11 degrees, so I might want to try auto-tuning it again. And I think it has something to do with the fact that the upper heater is also on, so it's rising faster than it thought it was. So I'll have to probably auto-tune that again after having auto-tuned the top. So the top auto-tuned without the bottom on, and the bottom auto-tuned with the top on, but before the top was auto-tuned. So now I'm thinking I need to run the bottom auto-tune after the top's been auto-tuned so that the bottom auto-tune won't overshoot as much, but that might throw off the top, and you might have to go back and forth between them a couple of times until they get settled into each other, at least with where I've got the thermocouples.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
And perhaps what I should do is auto-tune the bottom one with the thermocouple actually touching the bottom plate, and then find whatever temperature on the bottom plate I need in order to get the temperature on the top of the board to whatever I'd like it to be.
Oh, thank God.
So now it's going up to 150 on the upper. And currently, the thermocouple is reading 132 and it's saying 144, so it's a good 10 degrees off currently. All right, we're into step 3, so now it's going to try to go up to 180. It looks like the bottom one's holding steady at 180. Well, actually, it's turned off, so it's not really even, but it might be a problem having the upper one so close to the bottom heater, because now the upper heater is going to be doing a lot of work, and the bottom heater is going to think that it doesn't have to do as much work in order to keep it going. And that means that the upper heater, which is undersized, is going to be trying to heat a board that it can't, more than it should be, because 90% of the work should be done by the T8280. So that either means that the thermocouple is too close to the RSX region and I should move it over to the edge, or I should really have the thermocouple touching the plate. And then that way it's not interfering. All right, it's up to step 4, which is going to try to take it to 200, I think. I just want to see if it's actually going to budge here. CPU doesn't move. RSX does. And it's at about leaded temperatures right now. Now the bottom says it's holding at 180. What do we got over here? All right, it's saying about 171. All right, now it's set up to 225 and the process value is at about a 190 something. So it's going up quick at this point. All right, I'm seeing smoke coming off it now, so it's probably blowing. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. All right, so it's off now. That went better, actually. Feels like it went up a little bit slower, more gradually, better under control. I didn't hear as much popping or anything going on the board, so I feel like that went smoother.
I got this T8280 from Sean. I'm basically gonna hack it apart and just save the top heater, and I might hack that into the lid for this project box so that the BGA station has its own dedicated lower heater built into the top of the unit, so I don't have to have an external control. T8280. That's the idea anyway. And pull it apart and see how it all fits together.
Full disassemble. All right, I need to move these holes towards the center more. This is the reason. It has to stand off the top, of course, because that's where the heat's gonna be. Keep the distance between the two, and then that air gap will keep it from melting the plastic. But I couldn't use the default position right here. It would overhang the front. Okay, I'm back. I've got holes here, and they'll fit in there. This is aluminum and the nut is steel. It'll easily strip these. I would like them to be firmer, but you know, I stripped it a little bit, so oops. Finger tight, right? Or maybe a good wrist twist. Okay, question is, does it still fit? Yeah, it's got clearance. It's not interfering with anything. I think that's gonna work. Are those wires supposed to be so hot? I don't know. So those wires are super hot. Just kind of scary. Oh, stop smoking. Something's smoking. Melted at the base, that was the smoke that I saw. Clearly wasn't rated for the amount of current. It's still going up, I don't need it to. That's reflowed. Moving, that's moving, that's moving. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of lateral movement. $210. I heard some delam. Really kind of bad. Oop, I heard some delam. Oh yeah, right up next to it. 209. Dang, that was some popcorn right there. Oof. Explosive popcorning. No movement yet. 212. Ooh, did you see that? Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Look at that nasty popcorning. Ugh. Terrible. Oh, no. No movement yet. 214. This board is just, ugh, it's so bad. 215. Ugh. Oh, that's those sounds, the popcorning sounds, it's just so bad. 216, 215. Whoa, something just literally jumped off. Oh, there it goes. All right. Grab the EEGS. Set that there. Man, that was disgusting. It's just everywhere. Look at how bad this is. Delam there. See it? Nasty delam. Delammed underneath the EEGS. Nasty.
It even delammed right along here. I see some delam right there. Like that. You can literally see it bubbled. I mean, look at this bubble here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And there too. Oof. That's so bad. The whole area in here went. Oh wow, look at that. Ooh, some nasty delam. But yeah, like right underneath the EEGS. There's bubble here. There's a bubble there. Bubble there. This board is so toast. I'm afraid that's going to be a recurring theme with the infrared. I hope not. Anyway, that was exciting. I saw something literally go flying off. I wonder where it went. Inches. Needs to come up a little bit. 2 inches. All right, 218, and we've got movement. Perfect. Not a single popping sound, no tearing, no ripping, no nothing, just a perfect pull, as far as I can tell. 24. Thermocouple came off. How annoying. Didn't get a single delam, so the board being baked seemed to do a really good job. Here's the RSXs I pulled. I'm gonna just bag them safe and dry so that I can use them at my leisure later. I still need to reball them, but I'm not ready to do that right now. Anyway, I've got an ESD safe bag there and some pink foam. This is ESD foam. It's not like 100% ESD safe, but pretty good. It'll work fine. Now I've got some silica gel desiccant in there. In the bag with the silica gel, it will stay dry until I need it. This is just a Ziploc bag, and that's pretty good. It will stay sealed, but I can also use a food saver or a vacuum packer to seal the bag. It's hard to tear it apart, but that will create a perfectly good airtight seal.
Okay, at this point I'm calling it. PS3 number 1 came in handy for tuning the profile. Thanks for your sacrifice, buddy. The EEGS from it might be okay, but the one from number 14, the Unholy, is probably no good. The board was just too far gone. The tuned profile could get them off, and I managed to successfully harvest two 65nm GPUs from number 27 and 28. Those I can reuse, but that'll be another video. I guess this is the DIY or buy portion. It took about 6 months to build, with work and other things to do. I kept a running total, what I actually used, but it's not an accurate accounting of the total I spent. Many of the doohickeys came in packs with extras I didn't need. Some things I got thinking I would need them, but didn't, and I changed the design midway through. Some of the stuff I already had. Plus, prices have changed and will continue to. Not to mention what my time is worth. I can't get those 6 months back. Hindsight being 2020, I would say it's not worth it. I ended up spending more than I would have on a similar station, and I wouldn't have had to deal with all the hassle, so in this case, I would say the win goes to the buy option. However, I do have an idea of how to simplify the design with the lessons I learned from this build. It should reduce the cost and complexity significantly. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video showing it, but I'd like to get back on track actually repairing consoles. On a personal note, I know there's been a drought in the videos on my channel. It's not a shortage of ideas, it's a shortage of time. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I can't afford to quit steady work for a YouTube gig that frankly has no job security. I'm not gonna make it big and have my YouTube dreams come true. fairy tales. I'm still learning the scope of projects I can complete, how to edit and whatnot. There's a lot that goes into the project alone. The added layer of recording and editing really gets in the way. For me, I need something to keep me interested. The skits and memes, while cringe, are what get me excited about making a video. So I decided I'm just gonna make the videos I want for my own sake, so cringe if you must. Lastly, yeah, I skipped over a lot. There was about 400 or 500 gigabytes of footage that I just didn't show or skipped past or fast forwarded through. So I'm planning on releasing a series of videos just for people that want to see how I did everything and hear my explanations, or ramblings rather. They're going to be a lot less edited together. The production value is not going to be anywhere near as good. So heads up, fair warning and all that. So yeah, if it feels like I'm spamming you, you can hit the unsubscribe button. That's something somebody should earn anyway. I don't try to tickle the algorithm and get in your living room. If you like my content, you'll watch it. I just don't want to play the YouTube game asking for likes, comments, subscribes, all that stuff. Besides, the more people that subscribe, the more I feel like I have to make videos, which... I mean, just stop it. Like, you're gonna force me to make these videos. If I have to quit my job to become a full-time YouTuber, it's your fault. Rant over.
You know, he's like a turd that won't flush.